Just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, steady punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane has some.
Time for the show.
Just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
Oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, steady punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane has some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
You had a circus or something.
I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, September 18th. I can't see my computer. It is the 18th. We are back here live from Cards and Culture on this beautiful Monday in Perkins Row. We are excited.
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic is a great word because it was a great weekend. We had a lot of question marks going into the weekend about early game. What are we going to see? We had a really bad game 2 weeks ago. We played Grambling. Who gives a crap about Grambling? They're supposed to do that. What are we going to see? And boy, did we see everything that we hoped and more. Jayden Daniels had the game of his life. Malik Nabers had the game of his life. Whit Weeks had the game of his life. Young career at LSU so far. I think he's earned some more playing time. We're going to get into all the details of the game. We're going to recap the game, talk about what to look forward to this coming weekend. We have a night game here in Tiger Stadium against Arkansas, who lost against BYU this past weekend. Real close game. Looked like, Lloyd, your prophecy of the head coach there.
Oh, Coach showed a different polo?
Lloyd's definitely winning that one.
I think you hit that one on the head. You said that was their version of Coach O, and I think you're right. Not saying that he's doing the same things Coach O has done off the field, but as far as, hey, you win this 1 year because everybody liked him, he was a good recruiter, blah, blah, blah.
Great offensive coordinator.
It's hard to sustain that, and you're seeing
success
that.
when people start picking on you.
You saw it towards the end of that game. Time management was not great.
And I think he wears a bra.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I don't know about that.
You can't ever see his nipples in his
I
shirt
thought you
so
were
tight.
watching the game, bro. What do you...
That's watching the game.
I
That's
mean, I don't
insider
know about
analysis.
that. Maybe.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, come back to me. Report back to me next week about it.
I'll wait till November.
Do some more film study on that.
Yeah, when it gets cold.
Yeah. Then you really can tell.
I thought the Southern Heat could
That's
give
it.
you a lot, too, though, now.
Maybe if he pulls an upset, we'll see a little cold Gatorade bath.
Maybe.
Oh, I would love this.
Report back to me on that. Let
This
me
is
know what your
OnlyFans? What are
findings
we
are.
talking about?
Only Sam's?
Only Sam's. Jesus Christ. It's a doubleheader this Monday Night Football. The Saints are playing right now, or about to start playing. They start at 6 Eastern, or 7 Eastern. It's 6:05 now. You know what that means. Monday Night Football probably takes a little longer to get going. But we will be watching that game, talking about football, giving you some updates as the game is going on. But today is about recapping this weekend. Also, we talked about our new partnerships that we have. We are making a name for ourselves. We're getting new partners all the time. Gordon, everybody knows Gordon. Everybody knows G. Everybody knows that around Baton Rouge. He is the king of NIL here in Baton Rouge. And he approached me about this really good idea. And I thought it was a really great idea because our friend Keith Ricardo, week 2 on the show. Week 2 on the show. Keith is the in-house, not counsel, the in-house football expert of the Gordon McKernan Law Firm.
As you can see.
As you can see, look, he's a Saints guy. He's an LSU guy. Today's a big day for you. It's the Saints, Monday Night Football. I'm not going to keep you too long because I know you got to get home. I appreciate it. And you drive. You're a psycho because you drive back and forth from New Orleans, which is crazy to me. That's not easy drive.
No.
Yeah, I know. He's nuts. But
why don't just live here? What are you doing?
It's complicated.
Okay. I'll take that answer.
Yeah, complicated. Lloyd's a very complicated person.
We're on to Cincinnati.
The law is very complicated. That's why we have you on here. One, we want you to help break down the game, right? We're going to get to the law. We're going to get to the education of the law because, some people in here, that guy, need some law education. They need some help. They need to know what to do and what not to do when they get into some issues. And you are here representing Gordon McKernan Law Firm to help us with that education. But before that, you were also a linebacker.
That's right.
At Rummel, right? You're also a huge LSU fan. One question before we ask you about what you thought about this game. You and Whit Weeks in a phone booth. Who makes it out?
I don't know.
You're scrappy now.
Look, I'm giving him everything I got.
Yeah. Do you have a technique? Do you have a technique that you would do?
Look,
that
all I'm saying, if I don't
alligator
win,
roll.
If I don't win, he's gonna remember me.
Okay, that's all. That's it. And that's the only thing you can ask for.
That's
you
right.
have to make an impact on people, right? And
Yes, indeed.
That's it. He made an impact last weekend.
Big time.
Right? We coming into this year, everybody thought that the linebacker position and the secondary was going to be kind of light in the depth department, right? Obviously everybody knows about Harold Perkins. They know the talent. They brought in Spates from Oregon State. Yeah. He was first team All Pac-12. So you have those two guys. Greg Penn had some run last year. But outside of those really three, you don't really know what you were going to get. Well, Spates was out, right? They moved Harold Perkins back to I want to call it the joker position, but not really the joker position. He's moving around defense to get pressure on the quarterback. And so they inserted Greg Penn, and they inserted Whit Weeks, who's a freshman. His brother Wes Weeks is at LSU, but Whit got inserted into this lineup. And
Nepotism take.
Huh?
It's nepotism.
What's nepotism?
Getting Weeks in there. Took one for the other, obviously.
Which one? You picked the second one for the first one or the first
Took the first one to get the
The
second
other one
one.
probably has.
And then there's a third one.
Is there a third one?
Yeah,
Is
he's
he
a
good?
stud.
Is he the best of the three?
Uh-huh.
Is he? How do you know?
Because I've seen him play.
Where?
Is he a running back too?
He does.
Whit was?
He's the carbon
everything
copy of.
same guy?
Yeah. He
Okay.
plays linebacker and plays running back, and this
Okay.
wherever school they're coming from.
Nice. Well then,
Put one
come
up.
on.
Put another
come
one
on,
out.
Come on in. But anyway, so he makes I think 8 tackles in the game. Greg Penn makes such an impression that Brian Kelly comes out in his press conference today and says that the one constant you're going to see in the linebacker position, in the linebacker room that I can count on is Greg Penn. So it seems like Greg Penn is going to have that position and be in that role for the foreseeable future. Harold Perkins was freed up. He looked a lot more athletic. From your eyes, as a linebacker, as a fellow linebacker and as a former linebacker, what did you like and what did you see, and what is something that you feel like, damn, this defense could really be good if they continue to do this?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you're especially an inside linebacker, this is a game you want to play in. You know Mississippi State wants to run the ball. They wanted to play that smash mouth football. So this is your time to be able to just go in and bust skulls.
Bust skulls, love that. You
So-
did that? Were you a
I think he's
cowboy-
in the phone booth
Were
right
you a
now.
cowboy
I was
collar
a
guy?
big cowboy
You were a
Definitely
cowboy
in the
collar
phone booth
guy.
right now.
Yes.
Cowboy collar, eye black in the eye black.
Anything
Seat at
they
the
let you
table.
do on that
Fingers
uniform,
taped.
I was doing it.
Yeah.
Look, the cowboy collar was my thing.
Cowboy
It was my
collar.
thing.
He was trying to kiss you in the mouth every play.
Well, I had the cowboy collar and the long curly hair that would like come down to my shoulders.
So you kind of looked a little intimidating.
He was like a little Troy
The
Polamalu
long curly hair,
type
what
look,
what happened to the long curly hair?
I need the biggest pair of pads you got back there.
Long curly hair when I lost a bet against our strength and conditioning coach and had to get it shaved off.
What was the bet?
So,
That might be for episode 3.
We're not there yet. We're not comfortable enough with them yet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so anyway, back to the question. What did you see from these guys that you liked being a fellow linebacker?
yeah, so, I mean, watching how fast they were reading these plays was awesome.
Yep.
Witt, who is a freshman, first time starting in an SEC game, is flying around the football field.
Yep.
I mean, if you take somebody who knows absolutely nothing about SEC football or, LSU football, and they just come in and watch this game, it looks like he's been starting for 3 years. So I love that. And Greg Penn, who I think at
You've
times...
been pretty critical of him.
I've been pretty critical of Greg Penn. Last year there were some games where he was frustrating me.
Yep.
But
To say the least.
yeah, to say the least, he had me pretty fired up. But yeah, I mean, over the weekend, he was about as sound a football player as you can get. He's where he needs to be. He's making tackles when he needs to make them. I thought they played great. And watching Harold, he needs to play that rover position.
Yeah.
He looked like he's supposed to look.
And then I think part of that, right, being in a linebacker position is, the defensive, the front four
Absolutely.
helps that linebacker position a ton, right? Having Mason Smith back there, having a game under his belt. Mekhi Wingo's obviously been a monster, but having those two guys up front, kind of taking all of the attention from the offensive line, opens up
100%.
a lot of holes for these linebackers to make tackles.
Yeah,
right?
you could see a bunch during the game. They're trying to double team Mason, and you've got to have somebody blocking Wingo and all. And so linebackers are freed up to make plays, and that's huge. Your front seven, when you've got linebackers that can freely roam the field like they were doing most of the time, they're going to go and make those plays. And I think that was a huge help as to why he comes in and makes 8 tackles in his first SEC start.
So my question to you, right? We're talking about the linebacker position. When you played, were you more of a sideline guy, or were you more of a smash mouth guy? Were you more of those guys that try to come off the edge and try to jump over the line like one
Cowboy
of those
Collar
guys?
Keith, what do you mean?
I was a smash mouth guy.
You went in there, bending the face mask and shit. You're gonna take on the fullback.
Oh yeah, that's look. If he's in the hole, I'm not trying to go around him. I'm just trying to blow him up.
It's a run
I'm
play
trying
every
to blow him
play.
up.
I'm surprised that you're capable of being an attorney right now. You didn't have a CTE or anything.
I might have a little CTE somewhere up in there.
It only shows up when Greg Penn plays bad.
They had a study that came out after I was done playing that it was like 14% of high school players will end up with CTE. I've got no clue if it's got any validity at all. My mom gets a hold of it and she's like, "Oh my God, this is you!"
I knew someone right with you. I knew that was the issue.
What
14%
targeting?
turned up to 86%.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's before targeting was a thing.
Yeah.
That's before targeting was a thing. So you could go head hunt
Oh yeah,
back then.
it was fun.
Hey, playing some New Orleans football, man. That's some
We played against some
big
dogs.
dude. I'm sure you did.
Playing St. Aug every year. Used to see some players out there.
When were you there?
So I graduated in 2012.
Okay, so you're before Leonard. So I was saying,
Now I played against Leonard.
did he run you over?
No.
Do you have a story? Did you get him?
I got him on my highlights.
Speaking of, you know what?
Wait, send that.
Here's what we got to do. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna compile some highlights and maybe some lowlights. Combine them into a video. So now before every segment you come
Nice
on,
little mashup.
just a little quick
you
15,
throw it on
20
there?
second, 20-second highlight film for you, so everybody knows who they got talking. You know,
We got to
big
get
on
him
that.
in here in gear one time. I'm talking like spotter pad,
listen,
shoulder pads,
we're gonna
collar.
at some point. There's another attorney that works for y'all. His name is Tucker Nums.
Oh,
Sure
yeah.
you know.
Oh, I know Tucker.
Yeah. I'm going to get him in. He's a tight end. He played college tight end.
Northwestern
State. I'm going to get him in here, and I'm going to get you in here, and we're going to see who's got the ability to go one-on-one and get past the other guy.
Let's do it.
We're going to get that on video. On the show.
Sign me up.
Sign you up. I love that.
You got Mikey
Sign a
quarterback.
disclaimer too.
That's it. We're going to get this waiver. Well, y'all can write those up, too. Y'all can get those written
No,
up,
no
too.
liability waivers, Louisiana, but
He could be like Billy Bob though. That concussion counter might be just one away from that
It's true.
CTE.
One away, but you know what? It's worth the risk.
Worth it.
It's worth the risk. Before we get to the law segment, before you educate us, Saints play tonight. Obviously, you're a Saints guy. You live in New Orleans. Give me your take on this game. I have Saints -3. I know you just talked to Lloyd and you do the Lloyd thing and you bought the hook. You went down to 2.5. That's a very smart move. I wish I would have done that. I did not. What do you think? What do you see tonight?
I mean, from buying the hook aspect in NFL, I've just been hosed so many
that's
times
what
when
I
I don't
do.
buy the hook. So to me, it's worth buying it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think defensively, the Saints are about as solid as can be. Playing a young quarterback, I think the Saints win in a close one.
Do they cover the 3?
I think they covered
They covered the
2.5.
That's a push. They said
I think they covered the 2.5. The 3, it'll
We
be
got him
tight.
at 3 today. They cover 3.
They'll
break some
score
bad
3.5
streak.
points.
There you go.
Yeah,
They'll score 3.5.
I hope.
Yeah, somehow. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but they're gonna score 3.5.
That Demario Davis over tackle was talking to a linebacker shot up. It was 5.5 last week. Now it's up to 7.5 this week. So
Well, I mean, the 5.5 was very low for them. I think that was a bad move by Vegas.
Yeah.
I think they've regretted them. They regretted that. And I mean, not regretted it because I can't imagine too many people betting
Or
those
line
props,
hunting.
but you never know. They made the adjustment.
Went up 2 whole tackles.
Yeah.
They got
Yeah,
beat over the
right.
2 tackles is a big move on
2
that.
tackles is a big move. It's not just one. Oh, we're gonna give you a half a tackle or
Right.
no, 2.
2
full
whole
ones. No assists, full tackles.
people are looking at these player props.
Yeah, this is tough. Dude, yeah, they're getting in there now. All right. I'm not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. Lloyd's not a lawyer. Lloyd needs one always.
Could have been a lawyer.
He needs one on retainer. What is our education today from the law firm of Gordon McKernan?
All right. So last week we spoke about no pay, no play, and the
Not NIL and insurance.
Right.
Yes.
No pay, no play for
No pay,
for
no
car
game.
insurance claims, and the importance of having adequate collision coverage and adequate UM coverage or underinsured motorist coverage. And today we're going to talk about there's a couple different types of underinsured motorist coverages that are available to Louisiana citizens, and that is there's what we consider like a normal UMBI, underinsured bodily injury policy that you can purchase, or an underinsured economic only policy. And there's a pretty substantial difference there.
Right.
You know, when you need that policy to kick in because you're hit by an underinsured or uninsured driver, and you carry what we call an economic-only underinsured motorist policy, that policy is only going to cover expenses or losses that are quantifiable. Things like your medical expenses or lost wages. But when you have what we consider that normal or typical UMBI, underinsured bodily injury policy, it's going to cover not only your quantifiable expenses like the medicals and lost wages, but it's also going to cover things like pain and suffering and mental anguish. And so
that's the one you would rather, like, that's the one you should have.
I would highly encourage you
Lloyd?
to get
Sounds like CTE.
that typical UMBI policy.
Yeah.
There's
not the economic,
right.
whatever the initials you said.
And you have to, whenever you renew your policy or anything like that, there's this, what we call a rejection or selection form. Okay? And you have to
And
sign.
this is the tricky part, right? Because some people don't really know what they're signing.
They don't know what they're signing.
Yeah.
Some people just don't know what they're signing. They get this form and, you know, they're just looking for the cheapest thing around, sign their name, initial their name, whatever. But but you really need to pay attention to make sure you're being adequately covered there. And that normal or typical UMBI coverage is really going to be much more beneficial if you need to use it than that economic-only policy.
It's very important because the auto situation
Right.
here in Louisiana is not the greatest. Now, obviously, there's a lot of uninsured motorists driving around here. There's a lot of you're insured. I know
Catch
that
me,
you're
coppers.
insured. I know that you're insured. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the auto market here in Louisiana that's not very favorable. So to know what you should do and what you shouldn't do, that's very, very, very important. And that y'all make a living off that stuff. And this is something that people listening should do.
Quick question.
It does not cover yellow poles that you run into.
Not that you hit.
Actually, the flex still starting to kind of like make its way into the car where you can't really tell anymore. Like, I thought I was going to
How
have to
many
get
more
it
coats
fixed.
have you put on?
I bought one more roll.
Okay.
That Billy Mays the hell out of it. So now it just kind of feels like, I don't know if I've gotten used to it, but you really can't tell unless you know.
You think
Well, at
you
least
can
if we ever have like high waters, you'll never ever.
Oh, I could wrap the whole thing.
Well, that's not a good punt. That was a shank. But do you think that you're ruining the car?
I've thought about that, then I stopped thinking about that.
Okay, so it was a quick thought. Just
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I do have a question for
Yeah,
real
go
quick.
for it.
Go ahead.
Is this paperwork done by y'all? Like all of these things?
No, so this is done by you when you're going to
but
purchase
how
your
much
insurance.
more
the
do I
insurance
have
agent.
to? Who else is going to do this for me?
What do you mean?
I don't want to fill out the paperwork. A bad paperwork guy.
No. So you go to your insurance agent, and you say, do I have this coverage on my insurance plan?
Okay.
And they say yes or no, and if they say no, you want
I
to
would say make him check yes.
You want to add it, yes.
Yes.
Which,
Okay.
you may have to pay a little bit more, but it's worth it.
Right.
Because
Especially-
you'd rather pay a little bit more now than have to not
Absolutely.
to get screwed over in the back end.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the way it works.
Yeah.
It's good. But see, we're trying to make law fun,
That's right.
you know? And like this is, educational, also fun. The more we get comfortable with each other and the more the season goes and the more, so it's very hard for me to get you, really
I know.
jacked up.
Well, I
after
mean, when
LSU wins 41-14,
Yeah,
it's
we
a
have
perfect game.
an all-around dominant game. It's
Yeah.
like, we can
There's
get
not much to complain
Right,
about.
exactly.
But we're working on it, and there's things that I'm getting every week. I'm getting some extra dirt on you. So just giving you a heads up.
all
like,
good.
I'm coming with some right and lefts, maybe a couple uppercuts.
Hey,
but
I'm here for it.
never a gut punch. Never something that's gonna really put you down. Just a couple jabs here and there.
Oh, I'm
okay?
here for it.
I just can't wait for Cowboy Keith to get that start. Like I'm sure he was thinking of weeks whenever he was in there a freshman.
I'd like for him to show up with a cowboy collar one day.
We can make it happen.
Well, we got
We
Major
should make it
Burns.
happen.
Cowboy
Let's
collar
do
you,
it.
baby.
We should make that happen. Cowboy collar. As this goes, we may have a helmet on, everything.
What kind of face mask though? Let's talk about that.
Ooh.
Visor or no
It was
visor?
no, I didn't have a
No.
visor. Didn't have the visor.
He was spitting too much, bro. That thing
Yeah.
would have never been clean.
Didn't do the visor. It was just that typical linebacker face mask.
With the
If he
No,
was
I
here,
didn't have
if he was here, it would have been for sure. It'd be like, nah,
No.
bro,
right
you
in
ain't
the
it.
middle, the center face mask from back in the day.
That's the guys you look for. You'd be like, oh, I got you, cuz.
Right.
Tap the helmet.
Oh man. All All right. Well,
Wait, so are you
Keith-
going to drive her in the Saints game? Are you, like, trying to race home?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
gonna get there. He's gonna get there. It's fine. He
Yeah,
missed
we'll be good.
for bad punt. They shanked the punt. They got a first down. Bryce Young.
Too tiny.
Well, no, I think he's gonna be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's gonna be great tonight.
Frank Reich.
Yeah. It's a
Frank-
tough game to come in and play.
It is.
Week 2, that's not what you want.
Right.
Saints don't usually play great. Second game of the season against Carolina, and look, we watched it. In
We've been there.
2021, we were there, and I had to witness a very miserable game. It was the first road game. Oh, it was the first game of the season, right? No, second
I
game
think it
of
was
the season.
second game of the season.
It was the first road game for Jameis as a starter, and it was not good.
Yeah.
Not good. But today's gonna be a lot better. Today's gonna be a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you, as
Absolutely.
always, in this segment. It's a fun segment on Mondays. We're going to continue to get it better. If you have anybody listening or watching has any questions for our attorneys that come on,
Cowboy Keith.
go ahead and put it in the chat before, and we'll ask them. We'll try to get to them. The more education, the better. The more you know, the less you have to pay.
That's,
I think if that works. Maybe. The more you know, the less trouble you get in.
888.
That's right.
That's it.
888.
888. All eights. That's how
All
you find
eights.
them. Keith, dude, I appreciate you. As
Thank
always.
y'all.
Enjoy the game. Be safe going back to New Orleans. We'll see you again next Monday.
all right, fellas. Sounds good. See y'all.
Appreciate you, bro.
You better have all that insurance you're talking about.
What's that?
I said he better have all that insurance he's talking about, all the
I think
driving he
he's
has to
got
do.
it. I think he's got it.
Don't worry, we're good.
Good.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Keith Ricardo from Get Gordon. Pumped to have him. Pumped to have that partnership with Gordon. Also, we ran through the Heineken headlines from our friends at Heineken. That's not a good run. It's a first-time run by the Carolina Panthers. My first tailgate of the year this year. This Saturday, 6 o'clock. I'm very excited about it. These puppies are going to be iced down. There's going to be a few of them being
Consumed.
There's going to be a few of these consumed.
Under
maybe
consumption.
maybe some other things consumed. I've already, some other drinks,
Oh,
other types of drinks consumed.
thought you were fitting the bill this week.
I've already given my wife a heads up, like, hey, the game's at this time. We need to be out by this time.
That's where you messed up at.
Now I have a potential business client.
Well, you told her the real time. That's where you messed up at. You
I have a potential business client out there that's going to get out there early that I have got to go out and see. So that is also a big way of me.
Y'all want to count on it right now?
What time did you tell her?
I said we need to be on the road by 1:15 from my house.
I was going to say 2:30.
If I'm on the road at 2:30, I'm not happy.
Oh, I know that.
That's the.
But hey, it's her first game day too.
She's ready. She'll be ready. I'll have the clothes laid out for her in the
Yeah,
morning.
that's definitely not gonna work
It's-
either.
I am going to be, hey, listen, this is it. You are going to work out at 8:30. By 11:30, 11 o'clock.
Shower.
Get your
Make
nice
your
dry
own
erase
shower.
board. Put it all up there.
11
Check it
o'clock-
off.
Get it
11
ready to
o'clock,
go.
you need to be in the shower.
Have a nice itinerary right there in the kitchen that she can see.
11 o'clock shower.
They have food out there. We don't have to have
Listen,
breakfast.
I'll make you a drink. Whatever you want while you're getting ready, I'll get you. As long as you're in the shower by 11 and we're on the road by 1:15. It's going to happen.
No chance.
It's going to happen.
No chance.
It's going to happen.
Good luck.
Shower at 11?
We'll see.
Is there anything more frustrating than when they have the outfit, change the outfit? Am I wearing this? And we're just like, let's just go.
That happens all the time.
Every time.
It's every time. Not
And
all
my
the
bed's
time.
stacked this high of clothes. And then we have to,
I think you look great.
you have to say that, Jack. You're my husband. You have to say that. No, I don't have to.
Well, then who's you doing it for?
Actually, I'm the one person who doesn't have to say that, actually.
Yeah. Ugh.
But you do. I'm not lying to you. If you didn't, I wouldn't let you go out. But you do.
She was
So-
thirst trapping
How
on
about when they
Instagram.
just hold it up? What do you think about this one? I don't know.
You said you're thirst trapping this weekend?
Uh-huh.
With the bubblegum picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
I just fell in love all over again.
She looked great in
She
that
does
one.
look good.
She looked great in that one.
You made the right choice.
Yeah. Big game this weekend, obviously. This is the first SEC home game. Before we get to the Arkansas game, we're really not going to preview the Arkansas game today. Maybe a little bit on Wednesday. Definitely a lot on Friday. Let's talk about this past weekend. Because there was a lot of conversation around the LSU football team, not just here locally, but nationally. All right? Locally, obviously. I think after the first game nationally, they had their deal, and then they kind of figured, okay, let's just see what's going to happen. Locally, I think everybody was like, well, this is not the team that we all expected to have. This isn't the team that has all these returners on offense coming back. This isn't the team that we want to see. Harold Perkins isn't as good because they have him doing all these things. All these issues that everybody wanted to make into this huge deal, and yes, they could have been a big deal. We here on the show, we're talking about, hey, listen, all of those things are true. They're all issues. They've all happened. None of it was good. But this is football. Every team is different. I don't care if you have 20 of 22 returning starters. That team is going to be different. Personality is different. The chemistry is a little different. The season starts over. Everybody's 0-0. Like, you just have to figure out how that team meshes and works together. And unfortunately, you played a team that's going to be in the college football playoff at the end of the year. They're probably going to win the ACC. They're going to be they're a top 3 team in the country right now. And so you had to go and you have to be good right away. We were not. And so after that, you hope that you have the adjustments. You hope that the coaches say, okay, this is what we did wrong. Let's fix that. Let's make some changes. And you saw that against Grambling, but then it was Grambling. Okay, now we're on the road, 11 a.m. at Mississippi State, first SEC game. What are we going to see? And I think everybody, if anybody has any complaints about the game, go away. Go home.
You'll never like it.
Just quit being a fan. Quit being a fan because that you shouldn't have any complaints. Jayden Daniels was 30 of 34, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. Also 2 rushing, right?
Yep.
2 rushing. I think 2.
He had 2.
2 rushing. The linebacker position, that was a position of concern. Played great. Craig Penn played lights out. Weeks played lights out. Harold Perkins played lights out. He had sack, 2 tackles for loss. He had more than that. He actually went from, hey, I'm going to have a pass break up in the corner of the end zone to I'm going to sack the guy the next play. So that shows you the range of athleticism that he's got. Our secondary played great. Andre Sam was flying around like a human missile.
He looked like a torpedo.
Everywhere, right? Major Burns played great. Offensive line played great. I thought the game plan from the coaching staff was awesome. I like the discipline of the coaching staff. Your Will Campbell, left tackle, All-American, number 7, or the 7 on the jersey because you can't wear 7 as an offensive lineman.
Changed the role.
I felt like he had a pretty good game. He had 4 penalties. You saw Brian Kelly on the sidelines. Says, I don't give a fuck. It's 4 penalties. Take him out. And it wasn't because he's not good enough. It was because Brian Kelly was trying to make a point. Like, listen, these penalties that you're having, it's up here. It has nothing to do with physical ability.
Skill.
And I think that's a good thing. I think if you ask Will Campbell, he said, yeah, I probably deserve that. And to me, that is a good sign from the coaching staff. It shows that they're coaching, they're teaching, they're holding players accountable. Running back position was great. Caleb Jackson killed a guy.
Murder.
On the field. We've seen that twice at LSU in my time watching.
No, you never see it. Listen, what Leonard did was unbelievable. I never seen that. Just gonna be honest.
What'd the guy do? You should.
Full out slide.
He slid 2 yards.
Like this, in this position. Not like, kind of like full out slide. I've never seen that in my life before.
This man hit it, and he slid 3 yards.
Like when they showed up to watch film the next day.
Oh, I'm not there.
3 plays before this is coming up, and you're like, Coach, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Like, I can't sit here for this because I'm not going through that whole thing again.
Oh, we'll press pause for you.
Oh my God.
We'll wait. We got time.
We got time.
We'll wait till you get back.
That's
we
different.
want to make sure that you see this. It was such a big hit that Caleb Jackson didn't know what to do.
He forgot.
Like he hit it, and he's like, "Wait, do I move? Like, am I? Is he okay?" Like, I think he wanted to check on the guy.
He stopped and flexed on top of him and got tackled.
Yeah.
He thought he was out of bounds. Caleb Jackson hit that man and he grew an inch.
And so you see all these good things. Logan Diggs had a pretty good game. Malik Nabers obviously had a monster game. Malik Nabers could have broken every receiver record if he wanted to, if the game was closer and they didn't call the dogs off. Thought our secondary played well. I thought all around it was really good. You saw Lance Hurd get in the game a lot more. He had a little bit of a holding penalty on that first down run early in the game. But look, you're going to have these things. You also saw him. There was another play, and the reason I'm saying this specific play is because I rewatched some of the game today, and he was playing right tackle. Emory Jones was playing guard, and they did a stunt, and Lance Hurd picked up the guy coming across, chipped him, and picked up the guy coming in. Now he had help from Logan Diggs on the outside with the other guy, but now the guy he first chipped ended up making the sack, and that's because I think that Emory Jones, there was miscommunication on his side. But the fact that Hurd knew what to do, was able to do it, I think that's encouraging. You had a bunch of key players out. They are going to be back this weekend. And I think that all these young guys that play, we talked about it. These guys that are going to get in the lineup as a freshman, maybe they weren't ready. Maybe they weren't expecting to be there just yet. They got there. You see a lot about that. Ryan Yates played great. Like, it was just – you saw a lot more from these guys that you don't normally see, and that's what I like to see. With that said, though, I want to hear from y'all. What did you like to see, Jay? I know that me and you are kind of on the same wavelength as far as what we like to see on the field, but sometimes you go up there and you see something different from when I see it. What did you like from these guys this past weekend?
I was encouraged by seeing. So, I guess if you go back to the Florida State game, I'm thinking about the offensive side of the ball. Is they didn't necessarily get behind schedule. There wasn't a ton of negative plays, but when they got to the second and obviously running down third down, and obviously even times they got the fourth down, just couldn't convert.
Right.
What I was able to see this time was them staying on schedule, getting to third downs, converting third downs. I think at one point they were still pretty perfect at it. At one point, getting converted third downs, moving the ball up and down the field, that was great to watch. Defensively, as great as they played, I really don't want to take anything away from how well they played, but it was very apparent how new that offense was to Mississippi State.
You think?
And, I mean, we watched a quarterback who's so used to throwing this thing around 50 times a game and doing it pretty well, too. Looked like he's never thrown a football before on the other side, early in the game, right? He's skipping balls. They're not on the same page. He's skipping some balls. He's airmailing some balls. It was, it was kind of all over the place. And that played right into allowing our defense to get comfortable, allowing our D-line to assert themselves and start dominating, allowing those linebackers to start flying around. And I thought the defensive backs played a lot better than they have all season yesterday. I'm very interested to see what do they do going forward here, because there were some names through 2 games we didn't really get to see highlighted and showcased that popped when you watched the game.
Give me those names.
The Weeks kid pops. Sam popped. Caleb Jackson popped. Logan Diggs played well. Malik, it's not even about the 12 or 13 catches for me. Malik looked like he was on a different level.
Is that the first game you're like, okay, he's a ride?
First game,
he's
I
always
felt
been
like
really
he's
good.
been on a different level.
Yeah.
He's been on that upper echelon of that's different than what I'm seeing from every other game he's played, and honestly from every other player that's on the field, right? Those things pop. So it'll be interesting to see how you assert those things moving forward, because it seems like we may have found some playmakers, and there's no you're missing a very experienced, very good linebacker in Spates. You're missing a very experienced, very good safety in Greg Brooks, right? But how do you get these other guys in here? And some of them are younger, but how do you get these other guys in here? Because they made plays. You need people to come in and make plays.
And we've talked about this, right? How you sustain this success for years and years and years is to develop these young guys, right? And so now part of the issue was you aren't sure about the depth. You're not sure about these young guys. These go out there and they pop, and now all of a sudden you're not as light defensively as you thought.
Yeah.
Now these guys maybe are a little bit more ready to play than you thought they were, and they showed you they can. I mean, Whit Weeks was not talked about at all. As far as, this guy, he was a recruit. They liked him.
You didn't think he was in the picture. Not for this year.
And he comes in here, he has 8 tackles in his first career start, or first career extended. Did he start? Mm-hmm. He started. His first career start is in the SEC on the road in Starkville at 11 a.m. Listen, I know it's Mississippi State, and LSU is better than Mississippi State and has historically better than them, but I mean, you're going there in the morning with cowbells, and it's loud, and it's your first start. You're going against a team that has a really good running back.
So in football for me, that statement about a team being better than someone and you're supposed to beat them and they don't belong on the field with you, I think in football, it is the one statement that I could care less about hearing about, right? If you watch a basketball game, bro, anybody can have shots falling any night.
Right.
You watch a baseball game, anybody can run into a couple balls and do something special in a night. When you're supposed to be better than a team in football and you impose your will and you go out there and actually execute that and you beat the shit out of them, that lets me know you are what you think you are as a team.
And football's hard, dude.
Go from year to year when you've seen just take the last 2 years, right? We've all talked about how dominant Georgia's been the last 2 years. When they've played teams that have not been on the same level as them, you have not seen close games.
Minus this
from start to finish.
Minus this last 2
years, right? So that's my point. So in football, to me, when you see those things, that speaks a lot, right? We don't play Grambling and go and beat Grambling 35-14. It was that before you left the first half.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
That shows me that, hey, this team has the capabilities to be as good as you hoped it could be. And then now you just got to continue to keep doing it.
Lloyd, do you have anything? Because I want to take another point of this, but go ahead if you want to give me your 2 cents.
I think it was the best.
Also, I'm very proud of you that I have turned you into more of an optimist than a pessimist.
Yes, I mean
I'm
it is
very proud of
fun.
you.
It is fun, but
It's been a long road over 18
Yeah,
months.
look, it's not that. Listen, it's easy to go back to the bad way habits, so I gotta stay on them.
Nervous
Make sure
Lloyd
Yeah.
that this season didn't even really show up, so I like it.
well, they killed me early. They just put the knife in the gut in week 1. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm dead.
The knife in the gun.
In the gut,
Oh, I thought it was like, damn, you gotta shoot.
No, yeah,
shoot
that'd be a
gun?
bayonet.
Gun knife.
bayonet, little history lesson.
bayonet.
No, but what I was impressed with was that I feel like if you were an LSU fan or if you were on the LSU football team, what you saw for an 11 a.m. kick at Mississippi State, where it seems like the first 2 weeks did not go your way. There wasn't a lot of juice. There wasn't a lot of energy. There's all the things that you were like, what?
Stopping at gas stations
Yeah.
or car dealerships.
I guess. Yeah,
That's what
like,
they
but then
said.
it had a lot going against you, but I don't care about any of that. It was the fact that they got up and they played with an intent and a purpose to be like, the first
Yeah.
2 weeks you saw were not LSU football. And I think even Will Campbell doing what they allegedly threw a helmet and took somebody's helmet off and threw it off the field, and Kyle Turley did a little bit. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah, but
I didn't
that's
see
just
that either.
Did he get a penalty?
that was just the 4th penalty that got him, and that was why
I didn't see that.
That was just what I had heard. I think they said it on the broadcast, but I'm glad he did it. Like, you had 2 separate lessons learned there. One from Brian Kelly being like, "Hey, we're not going to tolerate that," and one from Will Campbell going, "We're LSU. Like, I'm not." They got bullied the first 2 games. Even Grambling tried to bully him. They tried to take Harold Perkins' mouthpiece off his helmet and hit him. And it's like LSU was just taking it. You learned that you got some dogs. And you saw from week to week to week, this team is not a final product yet. And then this week, this might be the best game they play all year. But at least you know that you can play that good.
Right. And it's the physicality was there.
That's not the standard. You're not going to play 100 every time.
For sure.
But that was as impressive of a win when you had to have it, because I think a lot of people, fans included, were, I don't know what LSU is.
Right. Sometimes it takes some time to have your identity, right? And we talked about what they did this week, and we talked about how much better they had looked. And to me, they played a flawless game.
That was
right?
perfect.
Thank God they gave up the touchdown at the end of the first half, because that helped my over, and I hit the over, which was awesome. But they played a perfect game. Like, they played exactly what you'd wanted to. I don't think they had single digits of offense given up. I think their defense only gave up 60 or something yards, maybe a little bit more, because that 52-yard run
200
in the
yards.
first half.
First half. They gave up 200 yards total.
Right. And so can't ask for much more than that. They got after the quarterback. Savion Jones is real, Coach. Real. I know people talk about, he was good last year, he was good this year. No.
He could be game-changing.
He's going to be in the NFL.
Yes.
He's going to be in the NFL. He is athletic. He is long. He beats the left tackle all the time.
And that's what I'm talking about. It feels like they got all of the puzzle pieces are kind of falling into place now.
You're starting to
whether
see,
it be
yeah.
even if what weeks isn't the starter, you still have him in that reserve role and that allows Omar Speights to get healthy, because that was the biggest test for weeks going into a game where they're going to run the football. He could have gotten exposed out there. Instead, he showed out.
No doubt.
So now you feel like you have depth at the linebacker position. I feel like Mason Smith got better. He got more comfortable out there. And then you see Mekhi Wingo keep being Mekhi Wingo. Then that let Savion Jones do it. Harold Perkins was Harold Perkins.
He was great. Had sack, had a pass breakup, had a few tackles for losses.
The PBU, it was a roller coaster.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's chasing a guy, and thank God he's playing college.
Yeah.
Not NFL, because that's pass interference in NFL.
Face guarding.
But
Caught him.
he did what he needed to do. Broke up the play. Everybody gets worried when you lose a game in college, because historically, you're in the SEC, Alabama, Georgia, all these teams, they're not going to lose many games, if any, and you can't lose a game and make the playoffs. That has been the narrative. Look around the SEC right now. There's a lot of turnover, and there's a lot of question marks around some of these teams that don't normally have question marks, right? To me, this is the most turnover the SEC has had collectively in a very, very, very long time. You have the best returning quarterback in the conference is Jayden Daniels, right? And Alabama's used 3 already. They're going to go back to Milroe this week, which I think is the right decision. Is it Carson Beck? Or is it's Carson Beck?
I think it's
for
Carson
Georgia. Carson Beck's their quarterback, highly touted. He's getting better and better and better, but they're still not clicking all cylinders. Now, their defense is still good. South Carolina had a double-digit lead on them at halftime.
17.
Like, that was great because I also had took South Carolina plus 27.5. That's 2 wins. I'm just going to keep counting my wins throughout the course of the show.
Yeah.
But South Carolina took them to the wire. Now, obviously, Georgia ended up winning in the second half. Tennessee, top 15 team, looked awful. Joe Milton, maybe not. Look, he showed 2 balls down the field that were great. The other ones, not so great. Florida,
good fastball, changeup needs work.
Yeah, changeup needs a little work. The location needs a little work. Florida was in a bad spot. They were 1-1. They lost to Utah. They didn't look very good doing it. You know, Billy Napier didn't have a great year last year. They're playing a top 10 team or top 15 team. They go out there and they play great. They win the football game, right? Graham Mertz did what they needed him to do.
Got in a fight.
Now Florida's trying to start to figure some stuff out.
That fight was absurd.
What's that?
The fight was absurd.
That's what we're going to get to that one.
Okay.
We're going to get to that one. Because the linemen squaring up to me. Like, they are squaring up.
They look like they came
Not
from
only
opposite.
shoving each other and squaring up, they are squared up and
They
they're
look
ready.
like they came from opposite ends of the ring, like out their own corners. Like they had that much space in between them when they squared up. I'm like, yo, this is a real fight.
And then I was like, okay, are they going to square up and no punches? Nope, they swung. Yeah. Nope, they swung. With helmets on, full pads, everything. I'm going to swing at you.
We're fighting.
That's going to be good. That's going to hurt your hand more than it's
you
going to
don't
hurt me,
need
but
that.
we're
We
good.
just wrap that up, man.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
They're already
Put a
wrapped.
little club on that thing. We'd be good to go.
But I kind of respected maybe you hit the quarterback whenever he's obviously taking a knee and it was.
Well, okay.
Well,
let's
first off, that was a dumb knee to take the way he did it.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Graham
Mertz
Mertz
doesn't know what he's
earned
doing.
that.
Yes.
He welcomed that, right? Like, hey, dude, just get down. I get what you're trying to do. but,
Especially
like,
because it was a decently close game.
Right. Like, get down, right? But back to the point, right? Georgia, look, they're still the top team in the country or whatever. They haven't lost, but there's still some question marks there. They're not as dominant. They're going to get better. Alabama's got a lot, right? Alabama got cooked a little bit in the secondary against Texas, against a really good quarterback. Their quarterback situation, they're trying to figure that out. I think Jalen Milroe is going to be the guy moving forward.
He already announced it.
Yeah, right. But, like, I think he's going to, like, be the guy is what I mean. Like, they're not going to just say, oh, you're the guy. Oh, you played bad. We're going to take you back out. Like, I think they're going to give him some run there, right? Look, Ole Miss is playing well, but, like, Ole Miss struggled at Tulane, at their backup quarterback. My point is there's a lot of question marks in the SEC right now. And if you look at what LSU did against Mississippi State, if they continue on that trend, as far as teams that are returning guys and teams that have the experience, LSU's got more than basically anybody in the conference. So if they continue in this trajectory and they go out and they show you, okay, hey, we're not going to have a letdown against Arkansas tonight, this weekend. You go out there and you do what you need to do. Arkansas lost to BYU. They didn't look great. They had some issues. You go and you take care of business. Now you go to Oxford. That's going to be your big test. Ole Miss is going to be ranked in the top 15. You're going to go and play them. There's going to be a top 15 matchup. You're going to go on the road, play them against Kent Lane Kiffin. You go out there and you take care of business. There may not be another team on the schedule that you're underdog against. You're not going to be the underdog against Ole Miss probably. But like Alabama, the way they're playing, if they don't get better, like LSU may go on the road and be favorites, which kind of scary, but could be. There's not many teams on this schedule that scare me right now. Yeah. Is my point.
Yeah, I right now I got that whole Ole Miss game circled.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. That's the one. That's the test.
That's going to be your first defensive real test, right? Because I think their offense is humming. They got a good back. They got an experienced quarterback. They got some guys on the perimeter that can play a little bit. I think that'll be their first legit real test as far as for that defensive side of the ball. And then obviously you have to go there and do it, which makes it even harder, right? So to me, that's the one where I think if you're wondering if they're real or not is when it'll start gaining some steam and start going forward, right? So that's the one I'm looking for. Obviously, this is a big game at home. You got to take care of business. It's coming this weekend, but that's the one for me where it's a measuring stick test, if you will.
No doubt. I think the SEC's up for grabs. I think LSU's in a really good position to get it, even with that loss to Florida State.
I thought they were in the beginning, yeah.
At the end of the year, you're going to look at that loss and like, damn, Florida State's ranked number 2 in the country. Whatever they are, right? Like, oh, that wasn't that bad of a loss. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I said
it was bad.
I think I asked that question last week when I said because last year they were kind of undersold and they over-delivered by being a top 10 team by the end of the time the year was done. And then this year, even though they were a top 10 team, they're still not getting looked at as like one of those teams.
Right.
Like you didn't I don't think people, even though they started the year at 8, I don't think people at the beginning of the year was really saying, hey,
They weren't sold.
look out for Florida State as a playoff team, right?
You'll find
so
out
you
this
were
weekend.
basically, they were still getting undersold to start the year this year as well, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from what they did. They whipped LSU's ass game one, right? But it's not like you watched them play some scrubs. And I think now as this thing's starting to kind of get into the season a little more, this LSU team's starting to figure out who they are, their identity as a team, and how they're going to go forward. You're kind of getting a good idea of what you're going to get.
How much longer do y'all think it's going to be until Hurd's the right tackle, starting right tackle, the guy?
It may start this week.
I think so too. I think that they would like to get that right side of the line familiar with each other and their roles that they want to be. Touchdown? Not a touchdown. It's an incomplete pass. Okay. I think they want that right side of the line to get comfortable.
Solidified.
Right? Like, hey, listen, Emery, like this is your position in the NFL is probably going to be right guard. I know you haven't played right guard in a little bit because you're playing right. We had to need you at right tackle. Let's put you there so you can get comfortable there again, get comfortable communicating with her at right tackle before you're starting to get to the Ole Misses and the Alabamas and the Floridas. Because look, Florida's going to be
pesky.
They're going to be, they're going to keep winning some games and like, you know how it is. I mean, you saw how it was last year for LSU. If you get hot,
they're fighting for their life the
no
rest
doubt,
of the year,
and
too.
that's a scary team to
legit
be.
their life, yeah. So that's a scary team to play the rest of the year.
So, yeah, I'm with you. I think you're going to start seeing. I mean, you saw a lot of them. You're going to start seeing a lot more. I think even more so this week.
Yeah,
he's going to be the starter at right tackle.
Yeah, I think that's the right move because you can see it just even in the run blocking where that's where it feels like the offensive line looks solidified whenever you have to start practicing it like that. And I don't know when they're going to make the decision, but the more reps you get of Emory Jones at guard and him at right tackle, that's when it becomes the continuity comes together and you can run the football the way that you saw LSU run the football. Like Josh Williams looked great.
He looked great.
Diggs looked great. Caleb Jackson he has forced
his
his way
he's earned some more playing
He forced
time,
his
right?
way onto the football team.
I'm about to say I would only imagine too because he's so young, right? Learning this pass protection, getting into like this system is probably really what's keeping him quote unquote off the field right now. But man,
you're going to see him in the role that he's in right now.
You saw him making people miss. Last week you saw him running through people, literally. Man, guys like that unlock a lot of things you can do, right? And
talent's undeniable.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
before we move on to like some other topics that I do want to hit on, it's a sprint. Monday's our sprint for another 3 weeks.
So you can sprint.
So I can sprint and keep scoring touchdowns, so I can bring home a flag football championship to our team.
What do you get, a T-shirt?
I don't know what we get actually. We didn't win last year, so every team
you
makes
were
the
in
playoffs.
turmoil last year.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah,
playbook wasn't strong last year.
Hey, year to year, every year's a different season.
That's
know?
right.
This year I'm very confident about the guys we got on our team. So
I
want
to favorites.
I don't know. After we win tonight, maybe. Oh, yep. But
You're coming after me. I've got two T-shirts.
okay.
LSU URAC. Watch out.
Oh, love that. They
I think you were doing something else when I was playing.
yeah. I tried to play in the intramural flag football after I left and when I got drafted and I came back to go to school. I was a full-time student in the fall. I was like, I'm not an athlete. I'm a student. They wouldn't let me.
I think you were an athlete.
They wouldn't.
Just
They let the
somewhere
basketball. They let the football players play intramural basketball.
We had to play against the track and
BS.
field team.
It's BS. Why couldn't I do it? I wouldn't even playing at LSU anymore. Anyway, before we move on,
Track and field team game.
Look, we're gonna talk
wasn't how you
yeah.
thought it would.
we're gonna talk LSU all week. And so I want to, but I do want to hit on this before we move on to the Arkansas stuff on Wednesday. We talk a lot. People get mad. People were yelling at me on Twitter this weekend after I made the comment about Jayden Daniels can't throw the ball downfield. Sarcasm, actually, obviously, but people didn't like it. I got the STFUs a lot. Like I didn't.
Oh, they didn't pick up on the
I think they did because they said the STFU was.
to the other people.
It was it was it was one time. He said, "Oh, it was one time." Well, that's not true. It was 8 times. He threw 8 balls over 15 yards in the air, and he was 7 of 8. Actually, I think it was 8 of 8. He was 8 of 8 balls over 15 yards. His line was 30 of 34 for 361 yards passing, 425 total yards, 4 total touchdowns. If you watched Colorado play, which I think everybody did, it's the only time in my life I've stayed up till almost 2 o'clock in the morning watching a West Coast football team on a Colorado. I've never in my life watched Colorado State, ever. But I did. I'm glad I did. They have a quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. He is number 2 in total yards in the quarterback position around the country. The number 1 guy is Michael Penix Jr. from Washington, who has been in college for 1,000,000 years, and he's very talented, and he's one of the front runners for the Heisman. The number 3 on that list is Jayden Daniels. And I know a lot of people had a bunch of issues with Jayden Daniels. They want him to do this and want him to be this quarterback that they think that he should be. I think the quarterback that he is plenty good enough. I think the quarterback that he is and the system that he's in, I think works perfectly fine for LSU. And I think people need to understand the type of quarterback that he is before you start asking for somebody else. If you allow him to do what he did this past weekend, and he can throw the ball down the field and he's making the right reads, hey, did he miss a few reads early in the game? Sure. I don't know one quarterback in college football that's going to make every correct read. I don't know many quarterbacks in the NFL that's going to make every correct read. That's just not realistic. But what he did do is when he didn't make the right one early on, he was able enough and talented enough and athletic enough to extend the play enough to get the ball to the guy he needed to, and then he settled in and ended up having the game of his career. So I think a shout-out should go out to him. I think a shout-out should go out to Mike Denbrock for the scheme and the way that they structured this offense for this year and the game plan they had for this past week and the game plan that they had. And, Jayden was rewarded along with Malik Nabers as co-SEC Players of the Week, and I think they both deserved it. So I had to say that because I know it's a very hot topic. He ain't going anywhere. He's the guy. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
How'd your day on Twitter go, Jared Mitchell?
Oh, I had a great day. I didn't, I wasn't really worried about any of that nonsense. I'm just when it comes to watching
Are we
this
a
team,
Twitter show?
when it comes to watching this team play, listen.
We're out there.
Oh, we're on Twitter.
Yeah.
People love it. I love it.
When it comes to watching this team play, I would just like to see the best players play, and I have a strong inclination that a coach that has coached for 40-plus years, that at his last stop went 10 straight years with like 10-plus wins, has been doing this for a long time. I have the inclination to believe that he has a pretty good idea of who should be on the field. And then I also have an inclination to say that when the quarterback 2 was here, that when the quarterback 1 was on the West Coast, that when the offensive coordinator was in the Northeast, that when the head coach was at a different school in the Northeast, and they all come together at the same spot, that there's probably a pretty good chance that they gave the job to the best one for the job now.
Right now.
Right? And so when that is the case, even if you don't think he played great and or the team played great and or they lost and however you want to go about it, I have an inclination to say, you know what? Let's just see this play out a little more. Let's see what the next one looks like. Let's see what the next one looks like. And for those that think that finally he showed up and played one good game, you're out of your damn mind if you look at the numbers on the year, because they didn't just come in one game.
If every coach pulled their quarterback after one bad game, there'd be nobody would be able to play quarterback, because that's just the nature
that
of
quarterback
football.
Player, anywhere.
Right. Like, you have to give this guy an opportunity if he has a bad game. And now, if he's historically bad over and over and over and over and over again, that's an issue. That has not been the case.
And with that being said, I think when it comes to speaking about that player, when it comes to speaking about that room, I already said this one time, but I'll say it again. The most encouraging thing that I saw that tells me that LSU not only right now is in a good place, but they're in a good place moving forward, is what you saw against Grambling when the first team went out. And you saw the backup come in and still roll them on to 4 straight touchdowns while he was in the game. Made throws. The only two incompletions he had in that game were drop passes. One for sure for a touchdown. Right? That tells me that room is doing good, because when you flip it to probably 365 days before, he was throwing picks in that game. Right? So that lets me know where he's come, where that room is, and I feel like if that's what you got going on in that room, things are good looking forward for the rest of the year.
I think you see a lot about what the culture of that room, I guess. I hate saying culture because a lot of people say it, and I think it's overplayed, but the relationship of the quarterbacks in that room. Jayden has success on the field, and you see Nussmeier, the first guy right there celebrating. To me, that tells me a lot, right? And the only comparison I can make, and it's not identical comparisons, because they were very similar types quarterbacks as far as style of play as Jamarcus and Matt Flynn. That's the only comparison I can make. Matt Flynn was very highly touted. Matt Flynn was a very good quarterback. He was stuck behind a guy who, also very talented, was the guy who was been the starter, and he was going to sit there until this guy left and got that opportunity. He got the opportunity, ended up having a better professional career than Jamarcus, right? Jamarcus was super talented, number 1 overall. I'm not saying Jayden's going to be number 1 overall, but Jayden's got the experience. And I think that Jayden has proven that earned that spot of being a starter. And I think Nuss is going to wait his turn, and Nuss is going to become the quarterback next year, and he's going to be awesome. He's going to be in the NFL. And they're both going to – there's a room on the team for both of those guys. And I just like the way that they are interacting with each other. Jalen Milroe did the exact same thing, actually, with Alabama. And, I know we don't like to put, whenever, Simpson threw the touchdown pass, or they scored that touchdown, and Simpson had that big throw down the sideline, they were doing nothing offensively. Milroe was the first guy out there, getting super pumped with his guys. To me, that is a good sign for a team, right? And you saw the same thing with Nuss and Jayden.
Well, because it would be easy to see Nussmeier just kind of sitting on the bench and getting up and clapping and be like, all right, yeah, I'm being a good teammate. This is
Absolutely.
Not just being a good teammate. This is him being like, I want to see him succeed.
And I respect it.
Yeah, you have to. And but that bodes well for LSU's future. If that's the kind of leader you are already when you're not even playing.
For sure.
I feel like you're in pretty good hands. And the people that are complaining about, it's not that I didn't like Jayden Daniels. I didn't like how he ran the offense. Okay. I mean, if that's what you want to pivot to, that's fine. But what you saw from Jayden Daniels is a maturation that's been, I don't want to say a long time coming.
Hey,
but
that ball he threw down the right sideline to Malik Nabers, that wasn't a touchdown. The
That
other
was
long
a
ball,
touchdown.
he got smashed. He had to sit in the pocket with pressure in his face and release his ball knowing he was going to get hit, and he did it. That's maturation. Last year, out of the pocket, gone.
And he took off when he had to.
Right.
I mean, that's what makes him, I would say, looking around the SEC, probably the most dangerous quarterback in the SEC.
Agreed.
Because he was taking 3rd and 5s and 3rd and 6s, went through 4 reads, and it was like, oh, let me scamper. And if they can continue to convert 3rd downs like that and then get the run game back involved, and like I'm saying, I feel like all the pieces are kind of coming together right now. This is a litmus test for LSU because going into the game, you didn't know what LSU was going to do. You didn't know they were going to look like that. That's the best they've looked this year. It's the best they've looked since the bowl game against Purdue.
I think this is a funny way of saying it, but I think the biggest compliment to his game so far this year is what you've heard from the peanut gallery is 3 games in, he's only played 1 good game, right? That's the consensus around his play this year. Well, that 1 good game has turned him into number 3 nationally in the country in yards per game, or total yards period, right? So if he's only played 1 good game, what is he doing in these bad games?
How can you say that whenever there's 5 touchdowns against Grambling? They discount it because of Grambling.
No, exactly. That's my point. It's just
well.
hey, respect what he's doing. There is more than 1 player on the field. There's 11 at a time on the side of that ball, right? Let's kind of watch how this whole thing goes.
Yeah. I hate the fact that I have to leave this show early because there's so much I want to talk about. We got all week to talk about it. We can keep talking about it.
Don't lacerate your liver.
That's what I was going to get to, right? So we talked about there were other games. We talked a little bit about the SEC. The Colorado State game was
Electric.
Very entertaining. It was very physical, borderline dirty, not borderline.
Americans are disgusting.
It was dirty.
Huh?
Ugh.
What?
Nothing.
It was dirty. And look, Colorado is being ranked. They're ranked 18th or whatever they are. Awesome for them. Their schedule gets to the point now where it's real, right? They got to go on the road to Oregon. I think they're dogs by 22 points to open as a 22-point dogs to Oregon, right? Then after Oregon, you play USC. I'm not saying they're not going to win, but it gets a little harder. You do not have Travis Hunter for 3 weeks because of a very – I don't care what anybody has to say. If you say, oh, well, this is – he was just being physical. He was trying
No,
it's football. That's not football. That was Bush League. That was dirty. That was cheap. This guy took 3 steps. The ball landed. You saw it and still went after this guy, and you lacerated his liver.
So the ball passed in front of your face.
Yeah. You saw it, and you went and you tried to get a cheap shot in there, and you hit it, and now this guy's out for 3 games. You're lucky that he knew that something was wrong, because God forbid he plays through that, it ends up being a lot worse than it is. I had a buddy in high school that did the same thing, lacerated his spleen, had no idea, felt like, man, something's really, really off. Finished his game, goes to the hospital. The doctor says, if you'd have waited another hour and a half, I don't know if we would have been able to save you. Here's the play. I mean, that is.
Like you said, for all those that say, "Oh no, you want to talk before the game," that's not part of football.
No,
that's
you
not.
can
It's
listen.
just not.
If you want to talk before the game and you want to get there and you want to have big hits, I get that.
You do it within the frame of
not
what's
that.
legal in the game.
Now,
That's
look,
not
both
legal.
teams had some plays that were questionable, right? Both teams.
Oh,
had
there was
some
a
things.
ton of flags.
A lot of Colorado State. It felt like it was that way. Look, Jay Norvell for Colorado State, I feel like didn't do himself any favors with the media. Like at halftime.
Oh, he
kept
doubling and tripling down.
His comment about, it looks like they're calling flags, on one side, basically.
I'm so
saying
glad.
all the refs are just going against us. Like, to me, that's
glad they
that's
lost.
stupid. Right. And so, they played their ass off. It was a good game. It was a close game. I'm glad Colorado won. Their schedule gets real, though.
You lose your second.
You lose your best player.
Best player?
Probably your best player.
Because those games would have been hyped up to the point of, okay, Colorado escaped from Colorado State in a game that was very much magnified from whether it be coaches' concepts or comments to game day being there, Big Noon kickoff being there. Like, everybody was there. It was the talk of the weekend.
Yeah, The Rock. Lil Wayne brought
That was awesome. We'll get to that.
Yep.
But now you lose now you feel like, all right, now the run's over. Shedeur Sanders had to put the team on his back to be able to.
Which, by the way,
unbelievable effort.
He is
him.
Very good. He is him. He's going to be a really good quarterback.
So polished, man. It's
he doesn't
fun
run.
watching him play.
He doesn't.
He moves to create more throwing lanes and more throwing space.
And I'm not saying he needs to run. I'm just saying, he legit doesn't want to run. And so,
he's a quarterback first.
He is, but he is like that, but that's his game. And, he knows where he wants to go with the ball. He makes the sound throws. He is good. Yeah.
You can tell he's been doing it a long time.
Yeah, and that you can tell he's been coached up the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're not just him. Whenever Travis Hunter went down, you have to throw somebody. The other receivers played great. Yeah. The other receivers made guys miss.
You knew they had some other bodies there when they had, 3 or 4 dudes in game one that all went for over 100 yards receiving. So you knew there were some other dudes there, but those are good players too, and it's very obvious when you watch them play right now.
No, I just think it's just unfortunate that you don't get to see the matchup that you kind of wanted for Oregon and USC. I don't know if you expected to see Colorado pull off an upset, but it would have been a lot of fun to watch.
I bet you the line, if you had Hunter in the game, I bet you the line is
16 and a hook.
That's a catch.
4 or 5 points different.
Yeah,
because he's two players.
Yeah,
you have a guy who's going to take away their best receiver.
Challenge it.
You have a guy who's going to take away their best receiver, and then you have your best receiver who's going to be able to get balls on anything. So it is a shame. It's tough, but I was happy to see it. I love the fact that, when was the last time you stayed up till 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning watching a football game?
All the time.
A football game, not even just any.
Not even
game.
Colorado State. A football game. Yeah. I don't. I know that I don't. I fall asleep. I made sure I did not fall. I made sure
there hasn't been a West Coast game that I've been that interested in it's been a while. Let's just put it like that.
That's a catch.
Ass is 2 feet.
Yeah, that's a catch. I made sure I did not go into my bedroom so I wouldn't fall asleep. I was sitting on my couch making sure that I would watch this game.
Yeah.
And it's just, I love that. I think Deion has taken college football by storm, and he's not going anywhere. He's going to be in college football for a long time. So
I did the same thing last week for the Auburn game and just live bet it, and to the point where I was like, I have to stay awake. And it was up until 2 a.m. and I was like, why are we playing it? I mean, what is it? The commercials?
I did bet the Colorado 24, but that was never going to happen at that point. So
No.
I was just watching it for pure entertainment value.
Yeah.
But it was a great weekend. College football every weekend has ramped up, and now we're in week 4. And
Alabama was in hell at USF.
Yeah, it was tough for him.
Alabama was tough. Georgia had a tough one. Tennessee.
Carson.
The toughest.
Tennessee is fraudy. Tennessee is frauds. They are not.
Would rather get him this year than when LSU had him last year.
Josh Heupel is tough when you don't have an NFL quarterback on your roster.
We'll see. They can get better too.
No, they can get better for sure.
But that makes the Florida game very. Now it's
it makes it
piquing
better for
your
us.
interest.
I love that. Everybody's like, oh, the home schedule is not great for LSU. Oh,
Well, everybody was circling
We'll see.
Auburn. Now Florida might be the best game of the home slate.
Yeah.
It always plays itself out in this conference. Never misses.
No doubt. All right. I hate to do this, but
It's okay.
I know.
Touchdown?
Touchdown?
No.
Use that. That hurts.
We talked about. Are you gonna be tailgating with us this weekend?
Yeah, dude. I don't have the.
Or do you bring an ice chest? No, you don't have to.
I bring a book sack.
I know. I'm gonna bring the beer.
I'll bring
Just
the
bring
beer.
it to the.
I have the ice chest that Heineken gave me. I can bring that one.
Yeah, but you have to carry. I don't want to make you do that.
I just bring the book sack and I put.
Yeah, I don't make you do that. I was gonna say I was gonna bring
couple
Heineken
beers in
Silver.
there.
I was gonna bring Heineken Silver to the game, but
You should.
I am. But I'm gonna carry the cases and just put it in the ice chest at the tailgate.
Yes. But that's the only spot I go now. I guess we'll walk around a little bit, but Party Box is the spot.
Yeah, I'll walk around. I mingle a little bit.
I know. I didn't have anybody to follow.
Yeah.
I don't make my own decisions.
All right, let's get to the Seggies. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
I have two mistakes of the day,
Okay.
but I'm going to use one as a curtain call. The first mistake of the
That's
day.
he didn't even look. Oh, he was open.
I'm telling you, this is his experience. He's just not that good.
Who?
Him.
It was a running back's fault.
No. It's always on the quarterback coach. You know that.
Okay.
Speaking of it being on the quarterback, Dozy Place mistake of the day is none other than, they should have known when they got off the bus and this was the warm-up we saw from Tyler Buckner. What are we doing?
Wait, what is he throwing?
Nothing. Just pretending.
A little Jameis action.
He's not even, no. See that?
Why did he look at the camera?
Did you see that? Because he thinks he looks good. Hell yeah. Once I saw that.
That's a bad arming. That's a bad.
All of it's bad.
Yeah. Great number though.
8.
Great number.
So, mistake of the day is putting in Tyler Buckner. Then Nick Saban immediately goes to the media today and goes, Jalen Monroe's our starter. I was impressed with the way he handled himself.
Before we move on from that,
Did he get?
how much longer are they going to do? Like if the offense struggles for a little longer, how much longer until? I know people say, "Oh, this is Nick Saban's offense." I don't agree with that.
Tommy Reese is fired after this
Yeah.
year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that to be said.
that's what I was going at.
I was like, look, don't get me wrong. It's not that I really think Buckner's like so great or that Malik is so. I'm like, how good is Tommy Reese though? Because that offense is humming at Notre Dame right now. So how good is Tommy
Hartman's
Reese?
good.
I know it's a new guy, but you know what I'm saying? Like that thing is humming over there now.
Yeah.
So how good is Tommy Reese?
Yeah, Sam Hartman can do no wrong.
Right, he's good.
But Tommy Reese turned down the LSU OC job. Like people forget.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad
He
he did.
did an interview with Ron Rosillo where he talked about it.
I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. I don't know how,
Everybody thought that was an indictment on.
Right. Well, that's what he said in the interview. He's like, I'm ready to have an offense where I feel
Well,
unencumbered.
that's right, because I said, well, now you're putting all the pressure on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We did talk about that because now you're putting the pressure on yourself that if you don't do well,
it's on you.
He was saying BK was holding him back.
Yeah, looked like BK was lifting you up, buddy.
Yeah.
Do you see that picture of him on the phone?
I think he just didn't want to coach under him because if you really think about it, he took the job and went to Alabama and can't literally say that Alabama's so solidified right now. They were coming to a new quarterback, new running backs. They didn't have like big playmakers at receiver. So like, sounds like he just didn't want to coach. With
Also,
BK,
I know we're running out of time. Before we go, what are y'all's thoughts on the Lane Kiffin thing?
Tweet out the GOAT?
No, Lane Kiffin coming and talking about how he is preparing for Alabama's defense, but he's not preparing for a Kevin Steele defense. He's preparing for the other guy because he doesn't feel like this is the Kevin Steele defense. He's watched him. He's seen Kevin Steele coach defense, call defenses. He goes, this is not him calling defenses. I'm preparing for the other guy. The other guy's defense coordinator.
I think he's doing his best knowing.
Oh, boy, he's in a
Going through it. Oh, no.
Who's he talking to?
Jalen Monroe.
Is this last week?
This is 2 weeks ago.
I was about to say, because he's talking to him and he's not even playing.
I think Kiffin's playing chess.
Me
I
too.
think he's.
Me too.
I think he is preparing for both.
Yep.
Right. I think because he obviously knows what Pete did and how long Pete was there and the stuff he installed there, and obviously Kevin Steele's there right now. I think he realizes like, hey, bro, this is Nick Saban, bro. Like he plays chess. I'm gonna play chess with him. Let me try to put some doubts in his head about what we're doing over here, and I'm gonna
Great
prepare
slate
for
for
both.
game next week. Great slates again next week.
Because being able to prepare for Pete's in the building already. Like,
Right.
You know, like I don't have to rewatch much tape. I can kind of talk through what I need to do when it comes to him and how he would basically defend us, and then I'll watch tape on the other side. So it's not that much different.
Right.
It's not that much more work for him.
And he tweeted out, they put out the game stats from Alabama USF, and Lane Kiffin retweeted it, which is GOAT.
Lane Kiffin is the best on Twitter.
Yeah, best coach on Twitter.
He is. All right, let's get to our curtain calls. Oh, you have another mistake of the day?
No, it's going to be a curtain call to There's a Bounty Out.
Curtain call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And
me.
Okay.
The curtain call. Have y'all seen this? The missing jet in the military?
Heard about it.
How crazy is
How did you spin this into a curtain call?
Because whoever finds it, you get a curtain
but
call.
it
You
hasn't.
catch your flowers.
What do you mean whoever finds it?
Is there a reward for the? How do you find a jet?
They put a reward out, and
How much?
I don't know. But the jet
But
is
this
an $80 million
it's
jet.
$80 million. And
I think that 1% would be good. I'll take a 10%. I'll take a 1% of the 80 million.
how much is that? 8 million?
Award. Huh?
Is that 8 million?
10% of 80 million is 8.
I did not know.
Sure.
That's 10%.
But they have grounded all planes, like in this area. It's like between Charleston, West Virginia, because they're tracking how fast it can go, and where it would be by now, like because it's on autopilot. This man.
Well, I'd say the real question is if the pilot hit the ejecto button and that thing is still going, like, how long is it gonna go for?
That's the question.
At that speed,
So-
like how long can it go for?
They're asking help from America. Keep your eyes peeled.
For this speeding bullet in the sky.
It can go down at any point, or it's been hijacked by the Russians.
Oh
and
man,
they-
stay hot, kid.
Or they, because I think from what I read that this was the first time that they've had Chinese chips in the jet. So they're like, oh, they hijacked
That's not good.
it. That's
Yeah,
not
not
good
good.
either. No, none of
Not
it's
good.
good.
Not again.
None
Not
of
But
good.
the guy
good.
survived. Could
That's
you
your-
imagine going, bro, I got to get out
My
of here.
curtain call is my future curtain call is to if somebody finds the jet. I don't know how.
That's what I'm saying. That's
yeah,
who
if
it's
somebody
for.
finds it.
If we can get this thing right.
My curtain call is to. I'm giving it to Malik, man. Game of his career. Hopefully that is a springboard for what you see going forward for the rest of the year, and it's going to take a lot of wide receiver one play, if you will, to solidify what they do on the offensive side. So I loved what I saw. Obviously, I don't think you're going to have 12 catches every week, but playing with that kind of dominance is
No doubt.
love to see it.
No doubt. Love that. My curtain call, I got a couple. Both came from the Colorado game. My first one is Lil Wayne from Louisiana, obviously. He's leading out Colorado Buffaloes before the game. This video is not going to show the whole thing, but you see that he's leading them out, and he is rapping on the field.
Changing lyrics.
It sounded awesome.
It was awesome.
On the field.
Makes me excited for Carter 6.
I mean, can't wait.
feel like he still has
Have
it.
Have you heard his new song, Cat Food? It's good.
Let's do it on the way home.
Listen to it. You like it?
I do.
Yeah, it's a good one. It sounds the song is very
I can't play the music.
no, but very old Lil Wayne, which is great. My second curtain call, Mark Jones calling the game was on one. He was throwing out some one-liners
And
left
big words.
Right. Hey, Shiloh Sanders. This is a dual curtain call. Shiloh Sanders had the pick six. I think it was an 80-yard pick six.
After a penalty.
After a penalty, right? So pick six. Mark Jones on the call said he's stunting like his daddy, which is awesome because that's a reference to Lil Wayne and to Dion. And now, curtain call to the pick six would have been the only curtain call I had because you could tell in the middle of this pick six, he started trying to do the Dion. He's like, I'm not as fast as my dad. This guy's sucking me up. I just got to score a touchdown. And he's like, I can't do it. So that's it. That was my curtain call, which is great.
He talked about it in the post-game
Did he?
presser. It was pretty funny, too.
Yeah.
Dude, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
I got who?
He's Shiloh's
Shiloh's
unhinged.
I gotta go listen to it.
He's unhinged.
He's the bad kid.
I love that. I
He's
love
always, whenever Dion power ranks the kids, he's always fifth. He's
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
shallow. Just, I can't deal with it. You're me.
I love that.
And one more quick curtain call to Jack, because running the Twitter for a quarter was hell.
Oh, no doubt.
It was like I felt like I was in a blender.
No doubt.
I was not on the right drugs.
Yeah.
I was on alcohol.
Oh, you ran for a quarter?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
Jack's
I
phone
tried
was
my
dead.
best.
How did I not? Was that the
So that's
text
good if you couldn't tell.
I knew that.
Okay. It's tough. You did
Oh,
good, though.
I mean, how does he look at his phone that much?
Hey,
Jack's never in a blender.
You pick
Jack
up the teammates.
dominates
That's
that
what,
thing.
That's what a good team does.
I would have taken prescription medicine had I known. Instead, I was just saucy.
Yeah, I love it. All right, that's all we got. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back live in studio on Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you can't watch us, we're anywhere you get your pods. We will also be live in studio this Friday from 1 to 3. It is open to the public. Come hang out with us. Come drink some Heinekens with us.
Vibes are
hey,
back.
Listen, the Friday afternoon before a home SEC game is
The vibes are back.
is awesome.
Come
Vibes are
through.
back. Come through. Hang
Come
out with us. Ask some
through.
questions. We got a couch to sit on. Whatever you want.
Ooh, let's go.
Love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Final stat line for you today.
I haven't done that all year. Not doing it.
Okay.
I'm gonna call you after the stat line.
Don't forget your book sack.
Stat lines are good. I don't have one today. I only have my
Here we
computer.
go. We're ready. Oh, you're
We're
locked
ready.
in.
We're ready. Locked in. All right. Have a great rest of the Monday. Enjoy the rest of the Monday Night Football. It's 6-3 New Orleans. New Orleans got the ball back.
Mikey T is kind of winning me over again.
Oh, he's good. And Shaheed's my favorite, by the way.
Nah, give me Olave. See ya.
No, Olave's better. Shaheed's awesome though. All right. Peace.
Free him.